So we were invited here to have a little, they call it a lecture, but we call it something else. We haven't decided yet. About this journey that we are on in Sweden. So we will try to take you for this journey, and we will see where we land in the beginning. Yeah. So, my name is Simon Dahlgren. I'm the manager of something that's called adult education in Skellefteå municipality.
Yeah, and my name is Tore. I work as a training coordinator at VUX in Skellefteå as well. And basically my role is to be like a hub between the companies in the region and the educations that we have at VUX, and see if we can cater the needs of the companies in the region, and see, do we have educations that cater that, or do we have to start new ones, or can we modify some of those that we already have? So that's basically my role here at VUX.
Yeah, and everyone that sits here knows what VUX is. You have all the knowledge you need about the Swedish education system. Now you say no.
You have to say no.
You have to say no. I will give you a short brief of the Swedish education system, just very short. It's very similar to the Icelandic system, very similar. But there is one thing that is a bit strange, maybe. All the blue layers here, that's the municipality's responsibility, Skellefteå municipality. And this one, that's a municipality's adult education. And we are as big as in Sweden, we are bigger than the upper secondary school, gymnasium, as you say. And we have a lot of students in very different areas. So we are there. We are not privately funded. We are funded by tax. So and every 290 municipality in Sweden needs to have one of these. But I think we have the best, maybe.
I think so.
Okay. But first,
yeah, I'm happy to announce that this is the latest education that we have at VUX in Skellefteå. It's my own pronunciation course, and I would say it's the shortest one that we have. And I thought it would be nice to introduce that to you today, because we haven't carried out this to anyone before. And the big reason for this is because Skellefteå is a very, very hard word to pronounce. So, this is Skellefteå, where we come from, but we have a key for this. So please, we say she, left, you. Skellefteå. So, can we do it together? Are we ready? 1, 2, 3. Skellefteå. That's wonderful. Yeah. I will send you the diploma, and it will be in your desk on Monday morning, I promise you. So, yeah, a lot of feedback that we get is Skellefteå is so hard to pronounce, so it's a funny thing about that. Yeah. As you see, Skellefteå municipality, about 73,000 people, and when we said it from the beginning, it's the sleepy town, and it's been about 73,000 for at least 3 decades. Up and down, 1,000, maybe 2,000, but it's been the same. But things are happening in the region for the moment that is crazy. New establishment that we will touch just a little bit later. But the aim, as you see, for 2030 is about 90,000, and let's put another 10 years on that, and we're aiming for getting 100,000 people moving to Skellefteå, to this sleepy town, which is moving to be more like klondike for us. Yeah. Anything else, Simon, you want to add to this?
No.
Okay.
I just want to ask you, can you please remember what you have forgot?
No.
No, okay.
Take it later.
Skellefteå and Reykjavik, what do we have in common?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have how many have been to, no, some of you have been to Skellefteå, but 1, 2, 3. So you have, you have quite a good knowledge about Skellefteå then. And one thing that we have in common is this.
Yeah, we're in the same latitude.
We live in sparsely populated area, far up in the north.
Yeah.
Dark winters, sun never sets in the summer. You recognize this? So we might have more in common than we think.
Yeah. And we hear that there is a lot of companies coming to Iceland and Reykjavik for the moment. A lot of new people moving here. Need houses, somewhere to stay, and other services inside the region, of course, to make it work.
So we are a northern town, exactly like your. And we will take you back in time for a short while. 2017. That was before the development of the people started moving in. It was before that. 72,000 people, I think, in Skellefteå. Yes. Then something happened, and it was a company called Northvolt. And Northvolt, I don't know if you ever heard about it. Maybe you have read some news about Northvolt. It started 2016, so it's a very young company. The man who started it was Peter Karlsson. He worked at Tesla in Reno in Nevada. He was one of the engineers there. He came back to Sweden and started this company in 2016. And in 2017, there was a competition between Swedish cities along the coastline of Sweden. I think it was 13 cities in the beginning. Skellefteå was not one of them. So we got a message from a town 15 Swedish miles north of Skellefteå, and they asked, "What are you going to do with this questions with this company that want to build here?" And Skellefteå didn't know about it. So quite a big job started then, and the municipality, the politicians, and our bigger bosses than me, they ran fast, and they could catch up with this competition. And at the end, in the autumn 2017, there were two cities left: Västerås in the southern part, just outside Stockholm, and Skellefteå in the north. And then everybody said it will be Västerås. But Northvolt was quite clever. They had a big press conference in Västerås, and then they said that we are going to build the facility for research in Västerås and the production in Skellefteå. So the two cities that were left were both, they both got this establishment. And what was it then? Yeah, in 19, they announced that the funding was set. We have the money. And it was the largest startup ever in Sweden. And that says a lot. They talked about 3,000 jobs in the factory. And the same number at contractors. And Skellefteå city, the city of Skellefteå, is about 35,000 people. The whole labor market is about 30,000 workers. And here it comes 5,000 plus 3,000 plus 3,000 more. So it's a big impact. And one thing they said in the beginning was those 3,000 jobs, 80% of those needed higher education, universities. So then we can relax a bit. 20% of 3,000, yeah, that's not so much. It's 600 people we need to educate. Now we're going to another trip that has meant a lot of us, for us. In the spring of 19, we looked around the world and found, we were looking for a battery plant. They are making batteries, yeah. So we're looking around the globe for battery plants, and almost everyone was situated in Asia. China, Korea, Japan, and they wouldn't let us in. So then we found one, and that was in Reno, in Nevada. So we went there with a group of all those people on this picture is from the education side. If you look close enough, you will see me and Tore, a little younger. Okay. And what we saw when we came there, it was this factory in Nevada. That's Tesla's Gigafactory in Reno. Inside here, I don't know if no. In the middle of this factory, there was a battery plant embedded. The other part was making cars. And this embedded battery plant, that was what we wanted to go into. But there were the doors locked, because it was Panasonic that made the batteries for Tesla. So we could see the battery plant, the production line through windows. So we can see what was going on in there. This is a huge plant. It's bigger than Boeing's factories for airplanes. It's really huge. We also met people at a local community college, and they said this to us: prepare VET, vocation, education and training, even if you don't know what the company needs. Because the company don't know what they want. Now, I guess some of the companies sit here and you don't know what you want, maybe. Surround yourself with good employees and be flexible, and that flexible thing is very important. They had another department at that community college, and that were they educated people from other countries, English as second language. You really need this group. You need to take care of this group, because otherwise you won't be able to cope with this. So that was the second good advice that we got. So some lessons learned from Reno, 2019. People must believe. Everyone said that to us. Go home and make people believe. Because if they don't believe that this is going to happen, then they don't do anything. So go home and make people believe. I don't know how many of the people said that to us. Everyone.
Too many.
Too many. Make people believe.
Yeah.
This Mike from Edon, Western Nevada, business
developer,
office.
like yeah, I think it was.
Housing. He said housing. Go home and start building houses. Yeah, we were from adult education. Yeah, we will build houses. Prices of housing has made it difficult to get people to live here. Do you recognize this? Start VET now. And not only for Northvolt, but in every sector of the society. Because vocational education is needed everywhere, not just in industry. It's in healthcare, it's in kindergarten, you need bakers, you need restaurant, you need everything. And all of these educations that point at us. Factor 3.
I love it. I would say maybe factor 4.0. Yeah. What we mean about that is, a big establishment at Northvolt, there will be 5,500 people working just in that specific plant making battery cells in 2026, 27, will affect the society with new jobs of factor 3 or 4, which means that 5,500 is not 5,500 new jobs in Skellefteå, it's 16,500, maybe up to 20,000 new jobs in Skellefteå, in a city of 35,000 people. So if you consider that and kind of picture it, if it's even possible, what would happen to a city like this and its size when a big impact like this is like going crazy in such a short time. And this is not just taken from nowhere. This is based on experience from other big establishments that has been popped up in Europe, in Asia, or wherever we look into that.
And in Reno.
And in Reno, of course, yeah. I was talking to Heide for a couple of weeks ago, and they are looking into Factor 4.0. They don't, because they are Northvolt is building a big plant in Heide, south of Hamburg, in Germany, about the same size as this one. So, small city, size of Skellefteå, same problems, same demands, and yeah, you can see it. So, but I love it.
So Factor 3 is something to...
Yeah, and that's not just the industry, it's bus drivers, taxi drivers, kindergarten, school people, healthcare, and the whole society.
So when I have a lot of pictures from Reno, but you won't see anymore. We need 2, 3, 4 days if you can talk about it all. But on the way back, it's a long flight. It's about 14 hours, I think.
11 and a half. But it's,
okay.
It's long.
It felt like 14. On the way back, every one of us was going to write down what we took with us, and this was Tore. Then he was upper secondary school teacher, teaching youngsters. How on earth are we going to row this boat ashore? This is Google Translate. It sounds better in Swedish, but
it does.
Yeah. But that was one. How on earth? How in hell are we going? How can we do this?
Yeah.
For myself, I just started my, I won't say career, my employment in Skellefteå. I started there in April 17, and this was 19. And when I flew back, I thought, I think I will return to my old job, because I saw something that I wasn't prepared for. So we must prepare ourselves for the entire society's needs, and that could be a burden.
One thing, a short one about Reno is, I mean, it's a minefield out there. So I think this is one of the best investments from the municipality to send these people over there to gain and experience from what has been happening there for a couple of years ago, because you don't want to step on every single mine that is out there. So even though you will step on a couple of them, of course. So it was great to do this trip.
Yeah. What's really important to know is that every sector of the society, the whole ecosystem is in some way affected. Infrastructure, the people in Nevada say the people in Skellefteå will go crazy, because it probably in a few years it would take 15 minutes more to get to the work. The traffic is increasing. Yeah, that happened.
We see it now.
Logistic and transport, the roads jam up, heavy transport, all of those kind of things. Water, everything is affected. Housing, and this is quite a big lesson too, because Northvolt hadn't started to build the factory yet. They were just doing groundwork, and to go back to Skellefteå and say we need to start to build houses on a room or on a battery plant. They're talking about 15,000 new homes, and who will build them on a room or of a battery plant? It's hard to have someone to push the button. So back to Skellefteå. This is our own adult education. We had already started some kind of journey that we needed more vocational education. And 2017, when we started this journey together, there were 3 vocational educations in Skellefteå. Only 3. Healthcare, something in restaurant, and a car mechanic. That's it. And this seems so, when we analyzed the needs, it wasn't that difficult. We looked in the paper what ads were out for new jobs, and we saw that everything is needed. So we took this bold or stupid decision to we start and see where we land. So from 2018 and into 2023, we have done these kind of educations in different angle, in different fields, in different size. Some of them are very few persons, and some of them are a lot of persons. And we are a quite small department, municipal department in Skellefteå with about 100 employees. So we have
At VUX.
At VUX, yeah. Skellefteå municipality has 9,000 employees, but VUX has that. And all of these educations are what you call gymnasium, upper secondary school in English, gymnasieskolan in Swedish, for youngsters. But we do it for adults from the year they turn 20 to 60 plus. And now some statistics. This is hard to explain. I can't really explain it myself. But the Swedish system, we get funded from the government, and we get funded by annual study places. One annual study place could mean 2 students, or 1. It depends on what education. But as you see in 17, when we started, about 125, 130 annual study places. We increased that to 2020 to about 300. We were quite happy, and we thought that, we can maintain this number. And you remember the picture from the beginning with this 80% higher education, 20% upper secondary school. That changed to this. So from a majority of higher education, it went to a majority of vocational education. And this is quite a big difference, from 80% to 20% and vice versa. So this picture, we were quite happy about this, but we understood that, we need to rethink. So we did a prognosis in 2020 of Northvolt's impact on our educations, and we saw this. This was the need that Northvolt applied for us in our educations. And then Northvolt, we shouldn't focus just on Northvolt. That was a lesson from Vino. So we did this societal transformation. All the bus drivers, all the nurses, healthcare and all those. So this is what we try to cope with now. And we ran off to Iceland.
We left it for the others.
They are coming.
Yeah, they are. No.
We have some kind of a result in 2022, and we landed there. This was the number that we reached in 2022, and it wasn't about our capacity. It was about that the students, we didn't find the students. Not enough people. So Northvolt. Once again.
Yeah.
Kör du den här?
Is that me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, this is the largest industry, as Simon said before. Ever in Sweden, about 5,000 new jobs in the factory, and unemployment approximately down to 3.2% at the moment, which is like here, you're 2.9, I think, and that's more or less none, because these people below that is not going to work, or they have other things to do as well. But we need people.
But you didn't remember this. Okay. I knew you should forget this. Yeah. You see, this is not the same picture that you saw in the beginning. This is 25% bigger. There are another production line added to this from the beginning huge plant. So the first number was 3,000, now it's 5,000 plus in the same factory. You remember 80% vocation education, 20% higher education. So it's huge, and now it's you.
Okay. So to get some kind of a picture of the size of this, it's crazy. It's hard to imagine how big this is. Sigge has been there, so you have seen it. So to kind of see what the size of this is, there are two big buildings here, which is called the upstream, which is more like a process industry for the slurry, for the batteries. There are two buildings. One of them is up now, and the other one is built for the moment. We have 5 downstream lines, which are more like assembly the battery, and at the end we have what we call formation and aging, more like the stress in the battery and see if it's working the way it should be in different conditions and so on. And we have what we call Revolt. They are building their own recycling facility to take care of as much as they can from used batteries, and they say about 80% of their batteries are reusable once again, so it's interesting in that case. And this is an Airbus 380 down in the corner there. This is the soccer field, this is the Eiffel Tower, and this is the Pentagon. If you're going to walk around this area, it's about 10 kilometers. Is the size, oh, I can't do that comparison because you don't know what it is. So, but it's big, as you see, and it's crazy big.
Yeah, it's crazy big, and 24/7 production all weekdays, all the year long.
Yeah,
and it's hard to imagine. You've been there, but you've seen this picture, but you don't understand it before you go in there. That's how big it is. Now it's you again.
I think so.
Yep.
I mean, we have a really good collaboration, and so with Northvolt, of course, because we have been kind of having that for a couple of years. And we want to help if we can. It's not just Northvolt, it's very to point out that, because there are others need the same kind of education and competence, and we help them as well. Even though there are a lot of people that are going through these kind of educations that are coming from Northvolt or going to Northvolt, but there are others as well, sub-suppliers. There are 2 or 3 of them in Skellefteå for the moment, and they are sending people to us, and there are industries that have been running for a couple of years or many years that still send people to the education. So it's important for us to say to all that we are available. We are not just doing this for Northvolt, but we are doing a lot of training, a lot of educations that might be useful for the people working in your industries. So the first one was in end of 19, the beginning of 20. Northvolt came up with a draft for a specific competence for operation, process operator.
No, automation.
Automation operator, sorry. So we had this draft, and we looked into that, and we came up with a suggestion about an education which, based on this draft, would be 1.5 years. And Northvolt say, "Are you crazy? We can't educate people for 1.5 years. That's way too much." So we had to go back to the desk to see what we could do. So we ended up at 26-week of training program, and they said, "Oh, this is great. Let's do this." So we started this education in October 2020. There were 28 seats. We had 98 applicants for this specific education. And this was just from people that wanted to do something new or didn't have a job, coming from the society of Skellefteå area. Every 98 of them that had applied for this one. It will change, I can assure you. So after that, we have a new education started up, 24 weeks, which was called material handler. It's more like people driving forklifts and doing that kind of work inside different factories and so on. A new one, call it a technician. Northvolt sent a draft in March 22. We started up this education in June We have educated about 150 to 200 quality technicians in collaboration with Luleå University, because there are things in this education that we can't provide from books, more like the chemical part, statistics and so on. So this is an interesting and a good collaboration with the university. Automation operator English, why I want to mention this, because in the beginning when we started up educations, they were in Swedish. But it turned like this in just a couple of months, because there were coming people from other countries that were way better in English than in Swedish, of course. So we had to change. We thought this might be a problem, which it wasn't, because not everyone that coming into this training come from England. They come from different countries all over the world, and their English are good and less good. So as a teacher, you can feel comfortable by standing in front of this group and train them in English. So it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a big deal. So we have some, let's say, electrician training programs, industrial installation, automation. The duration of these trainings are way longer. I think it's about 1.5 years. And the smaller, let's say, companies that need these specific people, they never, or I wouldn't say never, but few of them would end up at Northvolt. There are other companies that pick up these people instead. So, yeah. Network technician, 30 weeks, 30 applicants. Every single one of them had a job in the end of the training.
And this was a role that I never talked about in the beginning.
No.
If you build this large industry and it's going to be connected in every way, you need someone who knows this area.
Every single one of these is based on a request or a draft from some of the companies. I would say mostly from Northvolt, but it will benefit other companies as well, of course. So, preventive and supportive maintenance is a course that we have. About 4 different pilot groups every year, which be about 80 per year for this kind of course. 12-week training is a good one. Yeah. Basically from Northvolt, but there are others as well that are interested in the same.
Now I jump in.
Of course.
We haven't rehearsed this, so you see what you get. This was quite long educations in this 20 weeks. It's not long, but in our perspective it's long. Then suddenly in August 2022, we didn't get any applicants at all. Because then Northvolt had, on the local buses in Skellefteå, there was a campaign. It's come, search job at us, you don't need any education. So when they put out this ad campaign, our search numbers went straight to the floor. They got jobs directly at Northvolt. So we had some meetings. What are we going to do now? We had invested quite a lot in equipment for this, and we said probably when they have filled the factory with people that doesn't know anything, I think they will come back. So we chilled a bit.
They did.
And they did.
Yes. Yeah. And here they come, the upskilling courses for upstream and downstream. What we're doing here, looking into short courses for people coming into different factories that don't have the right background, need some upskilling or reskilling, depending on what kind of background they have. And most of these people are coming from Northvolt or some of the sub-suppliers. We're doing a big thing now with Boliden, which is a big, let's say, mining company in the region as well. So, and it's done upskilling for downstream, I mean the process and the production industry, which was 3 weeks. We had a meeting in Northvolt and said, we can't send them for 3 weeks, it's way too long. So we started up an apprenticeship program, which is 15 weeks. And they said, wow, let's do it. Because we send them 1 week. They do 4 weeks at Northvolt, they do 1 week at VUX, they do 4 weeks at Northvolt, 1 week at VUX, and 4 weeks at Northvolt. And that program, they said, this is perfect, exactly what we want. It's good for us, it's good for them, it's good for the feedback from the students coming back and saying, oh, we are missing that, or that was good, and so on. And financially, it's good for both parties. I would say, yeah.
Yeah, and this development, you see this map constantly change. It not 1 month is equal to the other, so it constantly changes. So we go on.
So now we're looking into process control operator program. Starts in Q3 week 39 or something like that. It's more for process technicians and then production. And we see an increasing of need for people in this industry because they don't need that much people inside that specific facility. But they see now that people that coming in don't have the right skills and the right background, so we need to upskill them for this specific role. Automation operator,
We skipped that.
We skipped that one, yeah. PLC program, which has been requested for many, I would say, a couple of years. It's up running now. This week, actually, the first group together with Northvolt, a couple of people from them, and also people from our own training team, because we need to maintain and have a sustainable training path for the people working together with us as trainers, which we are looking into very deeply to maintain that. And facility technician, we've been talking to Northvolt about this for 4 years. They were screaming 21. We need facility technicians, or we can help you. And since then it's been quiet, and they come back once in a while and say, we need them, but for the moment I think they can manage to get this specific competence by themselves for the moment, but I'm sure just in a short time they will come back to us. So the program is more like ready to launch, but it hasn't been done that yet.
So this is the educations that we've done in collaboration with Northvolt. Now we're going to see Northvolt as it looked a year ago.
Yeah.
About 1/3 of the factory is built. And you also, Tore, he can explain what you see on the picture.
Yeah. I would say the picture itself says a lot. But if you see, what do we see here? Yeah, that's the plant for Northvolt. In the background, you see the harbor. You see the Skellefteå River, where we have about, 29 different power stations which delivers green energy for this plant. We have cooling systems for some of the production, taking water from the river into Northvolt. The harbor out where you see the smoke in the end there is owned by the municipality, which is a big positive side, of course. And if you see around Northvolt, there is crazy land, isn't it? And I think this is one of the main reasons why Northvolt chose to start up this establishment in Skellefteå. If you look at the airport, it's owned by the municipality as well. So yeah,
Yeah, this is we have trained about 900 people since 2020, and those are the main skills. Different length from 3 weeks to 1.5 years. Yeah, it depends on what education.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the first education operators, and we're awfully proud of the 60% women that gone through this. This is fantastic.
Why do you think it's 60% women wanted to go through a high technology education at VUX in Skellefteå? Why is that? When we promoted this, we never talked about technology. Never. We talked about transition, green energy, help us save the world, and so on and so on. These soft, more like soft things about what will happen if we try to get rid of bad things and try to implement new technology instead. I think that's a big part of why women, or in this case, were interested in this kind of education that we had from the beginning. It's a great number.
Yeah, it's a great number. And the needs rapidly change, and we try to catch up. And sometimes we say no, because it's not possible what we hear. Not that often, but...
Yeah.
What is our biggest challenge, Tore?
I don't know. Do you know? What's your biggest challenge?
I think it's the same.
I think it's the same, yeah. Show them. Why not? Exactly. We need more people. I mean, the bank of people living in Skellefteå with no work that want to reskill or upskill or do, like, it's empty. So we need people to move, relocation efforts and so on to make people move from other countries, of course, but other big cities in Sweden to Skellefteå to apply for work, education and so on. We have been working with a couple of projects closely connected to relocation, relocate efforts. But today, I would say, when it comes to this specific sector inside technology, close to 100% of people coming into training at VUX at the moment comes directly from the industry. More or less 100%. So they come to Skellefteå, they get a job, they don't have the right skills, they come to us. The number we had for, let's say, 1.5 months ago, Northvolt would need 1,050 people for 2025. Sorry, 24, sorry, 24. 80 to 85% of these people coming in to the factory don't have the right background. So they need training, and they don't have their own training facilities. Someone else needs to take care of these people. And we are a big provider when it comes to training for people in this sector. But we can't take 800 people on the top of everything else. It's crazy numbers.
So how do we find people? And as Tore said, the people around Skellefteå or in the county Västerbotten up in the north, it's empty. Oh. There are a lot of other big factories that are built in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
So the government had calculated that the northern Sweden need 100,000 more inhabitants, and that's an increase about 25% in 10-15 years.
Yeah.
And how?
I have
how? Yeah.
It comes here. 99.3%. This is the number of people living in Sweden that have chosen not to live in Skellefteå. I mean, this crazy many people living out there that have chosen not to stay in Skellefteå. So what's the big problem? I mean, you face the same if you look at the population here. I think it's about the same number. But the biggest problem is that we have competition. This is how it looked 2 years ago. If we look at Europe, they will need about 800,000 workers to be educated, reskilled, upskilled in the specific EV sector or closely connected to this one. If you look at the statistics today, it's about 1.5 to 2 million people. 1.5 to 2 million people need reskilling, upskilling in this specific sector.
So these are old numbers, very old numbers.
These are old numbers. So how in the hell are we going to make people move from Europe to Skellefteå when they need them in Europe? They need them in Norway, they need them in Finland. You need them. You want to send people to Skellefteå? Please. So this is also a very interesting transition itself everywhere. You see in the background north of the course, but this is a new house area close to the factory that's been built just a couple of years ago, or still building it, of course.
There are a lot of building cranes construction cranes in Skellefteå.
Oh yeah.
A lot of groundwork, but we are approximately 2 to 3 years behind with building houses.
Yep.
Building housing. So there are quite a few obstacles in the way.
Yeah. We have a small, short video that we want to show you about. You're going to meet Angelica. She was one of the former students who was in the first pilot group that I mentioned that started in October 2020. And she was going through this automation operator program for 26 weeks. So we have a video that is, this video is taken inside the premises at VUX. So you can see what kind of education that we're doing and what kind of equipment that is inside this training facility. And Angelica is going to more give you the root of her decision from taking the next step and try to apply it for this education and where it landed. So
we'll see if this button works.
Before I started automation operator education here at VUX 2020, I worked 8 years in a grocery store here in Skellefteå. My overall position was in customer service, but during the time there I tried most of the things. I got a tip from a relative that a brand new education was about to start. I started to read more about it and I got kind of hooked. I saw this chance to do something new, but also challenge myself. And even if I have industry in my roots, I wanted to go my own way and be part of the future in Skellefteå and where Skellefteå is headed. And this education was a perfect step forward to do so. I have always been interested and curious about the process and machines, but I have never got the time or the space to dig deeper into it. This education is calculated to be as short and effective as possible, so it was a great concept and that suited me super. The biggest challenge for me during the education was, first of all, to speak English. I hadn't used the English language super much after my upper secondary school, and for me it was kind of a challenge, but also super fun to learn and to release the latch and be more comfortable using it. It's just a matter of habit, and during this education I got more secure and also surprised that I don't need to be perfect in my English. As a bonus in everything, I discovered that this gave me also fulfillment in my personal growth. My second biggest challenge was to absorb everything you learn during this education. It's not only practical and technical things, also courses about the human in industry, history of industry, laws, and so on. Like soft parts that is also important before you start working in industry environment. The easiest way I learn is when I combine the practical and theoretical exercises together. I'm more a practical person overall, so the time we spent in pneumatic and mechanical lab was it was really important for me to fully understand and tie everything together. A huge piece of the puzzle was, of course, our great teachers. They gave support to everyone, even when it was a class widespread of knowledge. Since I started automation here at VUX, my eye on Northvolt started to grow pretty fast. And my goal was to get employed by them after I finished. Dreams don't come true often, but I managed, and I got super excited the day I got the offer that Northvolt wanted me on board. I shared this goal with a few of my friends that I got to know through the education, and to continue this journey together was a huge final for us. I started as an operator, and a few months later I became manager for my own team in the process of production.
That was our friend Angelica. The interesting thing about her is that she has been working for Northvolt for 2 years. She's now a trainer at VUX. So she's been going through the education. He's been working as shift manager in production for Northvolt for 2 years, and she is now working at VUX as trainer. Of these, we have 6 trainers at VUX for the moment. 3 of them have been going down the same alley as Angelica. So, yeah, we are glad to have her. I would say yes. So, it's hard to kind of summarize 6 or 7 years work together with a big establishment as Northvolt and other companies as well, and the training facilities and everything that we have done. But I hope there are some questions.
How many nationalities are working at?
Nationalities. It's about 106, I heard, was the latest number. And the interesting thing is that they have the flag of the nationalities that they can speak on their helmets. So they don't have to ask. So they look at the helmet, oh, you're from Ukraine. Okay, so I can talk to you because I know exactly what you speak, what kind of language that you can speak. And some of them helmets are full of flags because they can speak a lot of different languages. But English is, of course, the language that they should speak, but 106. And on this plant, construction workers, about 2,500, building the factory on top of everything else.
Is there a lot of people with families moving to Skellefteå?
You ask if there are a lot of families moving to Skellefteå. Yes, there is. And there are a lot of things going on. We have these spouse programs that we are looking into if Northvolt is hiring someone to look into what kind of family, what kind of experience or what do the spouse work with. Can we use that or not use that? You know what I mean, too. Can we have use of it? And it's beneficial for both parts, of course, if they can get a job and so on. Yeah.
I like to add to that. If you look at the number moving into Skellefteå right now, there are a majority of singles.
Yeah.
And Northvolt have built a few cities, temporary cities, where their workers can start their journey. They can live there for 6 months and hopefully get an apartment or a house after that. And then they can take their family here. So there are problems. I really must say that there are a lot of problems when we grow so fast, because the builders don't keep up.
Yeah. Sorry.
What do you need to warm up your houses? Do you have? You get out winter.
Okay, you're talking about how we warm the houses, what kind of energy sources do we use to do that? Is that your question? Yeah. Okay. You want to take it?
Yeah, I can take it. Inside the city of Skellefteå, there is a quite good net of heating from a power plant, central power plant, the big power plant that Skellefteå Kraft is providing with. We don't have your luxury with all the heat beneath the... No, we need to drill deep to get that. But many people drill for bergvärme, what it's called in mounting heating. Yeah, you know, you drill a hole and then you have water circulating and you heat your house. Yeah. And many people do that because it's cheaper than to connect to the municipality's net. So I would say that's probably the best, the most.
Cover most of it. Yeah. We'll say that too. Yeah. Yes.
Communities nearby, they don't step in here.
Sorry, once again.
Communities nearby around your.
But okay, it's an interesting question because we're talking to Skellefteå now. We have a city 15 miles north, 150 kilometers north of Skellefteå called Luleå. The name of it is Luleå. They are facing exactly the same we are doing here in Skellefteå. extremely big industries are coming to that region, so they will need almost the same number of people in the industry as us. So we can't cannibalize on each other by taking people from each other. We have to look way south or out in Europe or the rest of the world. That's the only way we can make this work. It's the only way to make it work. And if we look at Sweden, there are new plants coming up in Gothenburg and other places, Borlänge and so on, and they will need thousands of people to these plants.
Northvolt's plant in Skellefteå is the first one. now they have taken this decision of the sixth one in Canada. So they are building in Sweden, Germany, Canada.
They have one in Poland. So
and Poland, yeah. So I don't know how they dare to do that. But
and that's just Northvolt. There
Yeah.
are other plants, other manufacturers or gigafactories.
Why are the companies choosing to come north?
Why they are.
Yeah. Why are they coming north?
In this case, I think it's the green energy.
No,
of
it's
course.
a nice people.
Yeah, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
That's the second one.
Okay.
I mean, it's a good way to marketing thing if you would sell a battery that is based on green energy. It's the best way to do it. If you look at Central Europe, where you have problems getting green energy, how do you, I mean, I think that's one big part of it. And we have green energy where we live, Luleå, the same, in some of the parts in north, of course.
And a lot of space.
A lot of space, the mark, the lounge.
Harbors in both Luleå and Skellefteå.
Yes.
But one thing they didn't calculate on, I don't think they calculated on how difficult it is to make people move.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.